Today's video, I want to talk about some factors that I think you need to consider as far as the cost of living goes when living or moving to our area. I think if you stick around to the end of this video, I'm going to cover some of the things you may not have considered. And at the very end, I'm going to cover the actual costs of moving, an overall understanding of what those fees could be and some of the other costs associated. If you get anything out of this video, I'd appreciate you clicking the like button and subscribe button. We're going to do more videos concerning living in this area, moving to this area, and things that you need to know before your next move. Who am I? My name is Josh. I'm a real estate agent in this area with the Bragg & Company. If you're considering moving to this area, I'll put my contact information down in the description below. I'd appreciate the opportunity to earn your business, and let's dive into this. I think the first thing I want to cover is during the recording of this video, if you are in the market to buy a home, we are in a what I would call low inventory market in comparison to other markets out there. And that may present some challenges along the way, especially for some agents. But I do think that's worth mentioning because whether you watch this video in the future and the market changes, or you are looking to purchase very soon, I think that's worth mentioning because it could play to your favor. And we can talk more about that in future videos, but I think that's important to note. Now, if you're going to move to this area, one thing you need to know is there are basically two markets out there. There's the market of homes that the home is waterfront and it sometimes draws a premium price, especially with certain features, depending on if that waterfront property offers amenities such as a decent depth for the MLW. If you ever see that MLW attached to any listings, that stands for mean low water, and essentially properties with 4-5+ feet of MLW where the boat will be stored, docked, or where the lift is located, that can draw a more premium price. But of course, the view plays a big role in all of this. Whether it has a beach or riprap, lots of different things can affect the value of the home. But not only are we seeing a premium price for waterfront properties, we're also seeing a cost associated with homes that even have water access. So even if the home is not necessarily on the water itself, just having water access can also play a role in the value of the home. So we've got all the homes on that side that are either waterfront or have water access. And then we've got all the homes that are not. They're not waterfront. They don't have water access. And I think it should be noted that the homes that fall on this side, we see a market that is very affordable, especially if you are moving from, say, Northern Virginia or Richmond. Folks can get more for their money when it comes to buying those properties. And so, yes, if you are looking for something waterfront, that plays a role. But if you're not necessarily, and you just want to be in an area that offers a lot of the amazing things that our area offers, including being closer to the water, some of those things we're going to cover later in this video, you can get a lot more home for your buck. And you're also not competing with thousands of others that live in the same city you do. Next thing I think is worth mentioning is we're seeing areas in the market push into our area. And what I mean by that is we're starting to see Gloucester grow. We're seeing the Newport News, Yorktown areas push north, if you will. So folks that still want to live in a neighborhood, they want to live in a subdivision closer to the city. Now those suburbs, if you will, are pushing north. So Gloucester's growing. We're also seeing Richmond push east. So we're seeing the interstate be widened from 2 to 3 lanes from Richmond to Williamsburg. We're also seeing the New Kent area grow exponentially, and other parts of our surrounding areas are just growing because of that. Now, again, you could look at the negative side of that. Oh, well, that might be pushing property values higher. The other side of that I would argue is we're starting to see some more affordable options being built. We're seeing areas grow. We're seeing neighborhoods built, and the growth presents opportunities that may not be there if our area wasn't growing. And then finally, this has always been a thing, and that is folks that move to our area because they want to be around this way of life from other areas. So whether you live in Northern Virginia, Richmond, maybe you live in a whole nother state and you see what our area offers that nowhere else offers, we see folks move to our area because of that. And so what are some of the costs associated with that? Well, I think it should be noted that there are amenities in our area that do cost money. And so some of those amenities might be some of the infrastructure, some of the entertainment, things like that. Although there are plenty of entertainment things to do around here that cost nothing. But the flip side of that is if you are going to just become absorbed in this way of life, you're going to live near the water, maybe even purchase a boat or jet ski. There's costs associated with all of that, especially if you live in a city now and you didn't have that cost before. What's really cool is even if you don't own a boat or jet ski, we're seeing more and more things be offered in our area to folks that maybe you just want to rent something for the day or you want to charter something. We're seeing more and more opportunities for that. One of the things I'm personally working on, if you want access to for free, is a things to do flyer. Things that if you are in our area and you're looking for something to do, we will have a place that you can look at, a one-stop shop for all the things there are to do in our area. How do you get access to that? Just send me an email, joshua@bradco.com, and I will gladly share that with you. Next, let's talk about some of the utility costs, things that you may have to pay for. And the big one is internet. And for the longest time, the internet was a problem in our area. There were limited options. There used to be this clunky satellite internet. We're not talking about Starlink or any of the options that we have today. There used to be this very slow, it was slower than dial-up, I think. It was just very slow options. And now with the introduction of Starlink, of course, but we're also seeing that rural broadband grants have injected over $30 million since 2020 to improve the internet in the Middle Peninsula. And so some of the options that were here before are now better. But other utilities we can talk about are if you move to a home that doesn't have public sewer or water, maybe you have a septic system and you have a well. Depending on where you move, there are now options that we didn't have before as well. But that extra burden of costs, if you live in a city, that could play a role in your decision making when it comes to the cost of living as well. Other things like having your trash pickup and other services, commuting to work, if that's something you need to factor into your costs. And then finally, whether or not you have a profession that you can work from home can all play a big role in all of this. We see that more and more as well. Since COVID, people moved to our area, they can still work from home, they have a better way of life, and can still be successful professionally. The average electricity rate in Virginia is about 13 cents per kilowatt hour, which is lower than the national average cost of 16 cents. Another thing worth mentioning is taxes. Property taxes in the Middle Peninsula counties are among the lowest in Virginia. Some counties are almost half of counties located in Northern Virginia. I've heard stories of folks moving to this area saying that they are now saving hundreds of dollars on property taxes alone after moving from other areas. That said, just be aware there are taxes that we have here that you may not have in other areas. Some counties do have things like a boat tax. So simply owning a boat may incur that cost. It's not unheard of for folks to live in our area and possibly have their boat slipped in another county to avoid some of these taxes. Okay, so you've decided to move to this area. Maybe you did the math. Maybe the cost of living is better than you thought it would be. Now let's talk about some of the costs associated with moving itself, things that I think you need to consider. First, your average home inspection is going to have a fee attached anywhere from $400 to $600. An appraisal can cost $500 to $800. Title and settlement fees usually cost somewhere around 0.5% to 1.5% of the purchase price. Recording fees with the county has fees associated with that, anywhere from $50 to $150. Transfer taxes are an average of 50 cents per $500 of the value in Virginia. That's state and local combined. Your average survey in our area is going to cost somewhere around $500 to $1,000, and your typical closing costs are going to be around 2 to 4%. Other costs like getting termite inspection, septic inspected. Of course, moving costs and finding a good mover can play a big role in this whole process. It takes a lot of stress off of you if you find the right mover. And another thing I'm working on is a flyer that we will be able to give out to folks like you for free that will go over some of our preferred vendors. Most folks don't move every year, whereas we are helping folks every week. And we know some of the better vendors in the area, better companies to work with, contractors, painters, electricians, etc. And I want to have a place for you to be able to go to and look at our preferred vendor list. Finally, I just want to hit you with a few facts that maybe you didn't already know. Virginia's real estate settlement costs are among the lowest in the Mid-Atlantic region. Many counties in the Middle Peninsula do not have municipal water and sewer, which means well and septic maintenance should be budgeted every 3 to 5 years. Property taxes are billed semi-annually, so you'll need to plan for 2 payments per year, not monthly escrow in many cases. Virginia laws require the seller to provide a property disclosure, but buyers still need to budget for inspections since the area is prone to flood zone mapping. And finally, if you are buying a property in this area and considering using it as an investment property, having short-term rentals there, it can be a great opportunity. But many counties and localities are starting to crack down on that. And you'll want to make sure that you're working with a real estate agent that knows which areas where it's okay, and also the potential income you can make off of that property. That's something we do at our company. So we are able to tell you the potential income and costs associated with running that type of an investment. All in all, I hope this is helping. My goal in making this video is to give you some things to think about that maybe you hadn't considered. I think moving to this area is a great thing to do. It's something that my wife and I did over 10 years ago now. I met her in Richmond and she was from this area, and I was excited to move back to where she grew up because of all of the perks and advantages of living in this area. I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. And again, if you do want access to any of the flyers I touched on in this video, make sure to send me an email to joshua@bradco.com. If you like this video, I think you'll like this one even more. It's where I cover many of the reasons folks are moving from DC and Richmond and other areas to ours that I think you should know. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button for more highlights of our area. We'll see you next time.